back over in Cincinnati, but not at Eastgate, but at a video game pop culture show. This is Super Cincy. Last year's show was kind of like the first time I did like both video game and TCG, but this time around I did like more of like the variety I got from Collecticon last weekend. The whole thing that we did yesterday, for the short premise of it, there was a Friday that they opened up with a little bit later, and then I think it was like last year, I think they opened around 3 o'clock last time, but this time it was like around 5 or 6 o'clock. Those were pretty decent for like the first day. I wouldn't say it was like anything to blow away, but right at the gate there was somebody that did bring in some trades, and I'll show that off right quick. So aside from like the video game stuff, it's like Spyro, some Star Wars, and then probably the best one out of the bunch was Armored Core. I believe they got Budokai Tenkaichi 2, and I just owed them like $8 cash on top. That was a good deal on that, because I mean, we're gonna need stuff this weekend. And this was 2 separate pickups. This was from one girl who came with her, I think it was her boyfriend or her brother, and she didn't say specifically, but they saw Pokemon cards. They traded in a couple of Articunos from Journey Together, the Yukimori Clink Clank, and then Ins Plan. I believe it's either White Flare or Black Bolt. It is Black Bolt. I can see the lettering right there. But yeah, these were some really good pickups. Ins Plan, I've been wanting to have more of these because I have a feeling this is going to be very slept on many years later down the line. Then of course we had to get Dindindi. These 3 were from another gentleman. He goes to Eastgate, but I haven't dealt with him before, so the best one obviously is the Mewtwo Level X, obviously an LP. Not the best condition possible on it, but I mean, it's Mewtwo, and I mean, these are not easy to come across, but the other one was the Dragonite, so yeah, it was actually pretty decent for those pickup hauls today. Or I meant to say like during yesterday for Friday's pickups. So show's going to be opening up in about 10 minutes. I have no idea what it's going to be like for today. Obviously, if we get any more PSA 10 slabs like last time we were here, I'm pretty sure it will be a good show for the weekend. And aside from that, just to have fun, I already paid for the booth from yesterday's sales and of course for the hotel, so it was kind of just like first day, so we'll see what happens. And of course I have to apologize to everybody who was expecting to see me at Eastgate this weekend. I am literally just about, I want to say maybe 10 minutes away from the mall, so they may see me depending on if I am tired at all, but we'll have to see what happens. But, yeah, today should be fun. I've always liked video game and pop culture shows because there's usually not a lot of people that look for or not have like a lot of the inventory pertaining to Pokemon cards, but overall it should be a pretty fun weekend. I forgot to record about it, but I'm sitting down and there was somebody that picked up a copy of, what was it, Evil Dead Hail to the King for the Dreamcast, and that was $50. That was pretty quick first sale of the day. Alright, first actual trade of the show. They originally came in for the Ins Plan that we just got in yesterday, and they brought in this bad boy right here. So we owe them 20 on top, and then they got a bunch of more modern stuff from Ascended Heroes, Black Bolt, White Flare, and one Perfect Order. Very underrated set, so yeah, we just owed them 20. Selling off one of the other N64 games, Sarge's Heroes 2, going away for 25. Selling off more N64 stuff for the day. Snowboard Kids 1 and then Turok 3 is all going away for $100 even. Alright, take 3. I've had to delete and re-record this like multiple different times, but I wanted to kind of just do a little bit of a video talking about, for anybody that wants to vend, this is kind of a lesson for anybody that feels any sort of pressure from other vendors. The shows that I usually vend at, a lot of them are pretty reasonable. They will work with you and are honestly very, very nice. There's a reason I'm bringing up the gentleman back here, and I will not get them on camera at all. They felt offended by the fact that what I like to do for trades is I start off at 75%. Most video game stuff will be around that, but if it's higher end stuff, it'll be more. Same thing with TCG. If it's like lower end, it will start off at 75%, and then it just like goes up from there. So the guy, again, who runs that booth, he came to the booth and he wanted to buy around 70%. And what it was like basically the sealed stuff that was over here, the Switch stuff that is like right there. And a lot of that was more like higher premium like trade value because I sell a lot of Switch stuff at shows. But for like card shows, sealed product is like very hard for me to like get any sort of like much out of it. I do usually offer around 10% off for like anything at the booth for a vendor if they are looking to like sell that for their booth. So what ended up happening is that they were offering like 70% for like what was at the booth, and it's like that's not a possibility. So if people end up like offering that low and you ended up doing more for trade on it, then do not hesitate to tell them no. You have to be at least firm on what you offer people, and when they go lower than what you offered, it just feels not offensive, but it's like something that they don't really understand. So do not hesitate to just tell them repeatedly no if they are trying to offer less than what you had. So I'm pretty reasonable when it comes to vendors. I do like 90%, and I expect them to do the same for me, but if they do any lower, I sometimes like to go a little bit higher. But yeah, don't ever offer 70% to a fellow vendor. That's pretty insulting. I did not realize how pricier this had gotten. It's almost like $58 now, but I maintained the price on it because I forgot to update these, but we sold it to a customer for $50. Quick trade happened. They took the fossils research fossil, whichever the trainer was, and then it was the Hero Yui that was in there. They had this bad boy. This thing has been maintaining a decent price of around 70. It started to kind of go down a little bit, but overall, Destiny Gundam LR Plus is still pretty hot, and of course some Perfect Order and Ascended Hero stuff, so it was an even trade for those two cards, and yep, I always like seeing Gundam stuff. I forgot to document it. I'm doing that a lot during these shows, but it was a customer. They actually had a Gamer Aimer pin that's an old acquaintance of mine from retro gaming stuff, and they picked up a physical copy for Hybrid Heaven. It was like the last one of the bunch that I had, and then there was a copy of Dead or Alive 4 for $360 and did a bundle deal for $32. It's been consistently busy today, so very good show. So more game stuff being sold off, all handheld and one measly little Game Gear game. I think this plays similar to the one that was on Super Nintendo and possibly the Game Boy version, and altogether it was a deal for $120. Another front camera shot for this because I forgot to hit record, silly me. There was one customer that saw the Clefable, Mega Clefable from Perfect Order. They picked up that. Wanted me to remove the tag off, so I forgot to record about that pickup, so it was like an $80 card. I don't know if it had gone up. I didn't get a chance to like update all the prices for everything at the booth, so unfortunately that was one of the few cards I didn't like check the price of, but oh well, it happens. Do apologize for the glare. There was a customer that brought these in, mixes stuff. Second time getting the Japanese Psyduck, because Psyduck is always popular, but the Ascended Heroes, I think it's Mega Dream EX, I want to say is the Japanese set. I keep forgetting the actual names. But they brought these in. They picked up the War Turtle from 151, and then the Obsidian Flames Charmander promo, and I owed them 15 cash on top, and I mean, these are still very good. Clefairy is starting to go back up in price again, and we got wiped out during Collecticon last weekend, so yep, a bit of mostly just modern, so I'm happy to see a bunch of these, especially that right there. The Machoke is very underrated. Alright, so a few more game stuff I just got in. I forgot to hit record about it, but it was a customer buying something for their friend as a birthday present, and they had these. There were like a few other things, but we mostly left them behind to let somebody else have them. But stuff like Pokemon Shield, Brilliant Diamond, loose card for that one, and then Pokemon Pearl, obviously like the best one out of the bunch. And I'm probably going to end up keeping Bayonetta 3, mostly because I don't have that one, and I think the case by itself goes for like $5 to $6, I want to say. So that one, basically a pick up for the weekend. I finally picked up some video game stuff for myself. A big one going out to a customer, and it is probably one of the last of the expensive GameCube stuff that we have available, and it's sold together for $195. Yeah, it's about 6 o'clock right now, and it's quieted down quite a bit, but overall, I think the show was pretty good for Saturday. A lot of good, like, decent trades and a few other things. I mean, the only other main thing was the ETB. I forgot to, like, record about that. That's pretty much been about it. For Sunday, we're mostly going to be picking up some more stuff because the next show is going to be for the Columbus XXL show. I think that was like the next one for next week. So that is going to be a fun one. If it's anything like it was last time, I'm pretty sure we're going to be doing pretty damn good for the whole entire weekend. So I'm going to hit the stop button for here, and then I will see you guys back for day 2 for Sunday. So yeah, I'll see you guys back tomorrow. This is a different angle. I don't have the camera in my hands, but good morning, everybody. It's Sunday. This is the last day for Super Cincy. Last night was, well, actually the whole entire evening for yesterday was very good. This morning I had not any time to like hit record on like all of the pickups. I'll pretty much show all of that off right quick. So the audio is going to probably be a little loud because over in this like side there's probably a bunch of arcade stuff. So to kind of go through it all, it's like a little bit everywhere. I had to go by separate piles, but I'll just go through it right quick. This was from today, like these 2 stacks. From one booth, they had like a few things. It's like Quest 64, Near Mint, Jet Force Gemini, and then both have like the labels on top. These are good filler because I always need N64 stuff. And of course they had Namco Museum, that's good filler, Tetris Attack, of course Super Mario Brothers. Probably the best one out of the bunch that they had was the Turtles in Time. Not in the best of shape, but I mean they still give me a good discount for that, so honestly it's still good filler. Then for handheld, Loud Noise and all, they also had Mario Kart 7, Tecmo Bowl, because somebody will want that for their collection. A loose copy of Double Dragon 2, Blades of Steel, Turtles 1. This is complete. The only downside is the case teeth on the disc holder is not there. And then, of course, for filler, because Wii U stuff is very popular for the booth, we had to get Nintendo Land. So as you can see, like I picked up like a decent amount of like video game stuff because I had everything just like bought out, and thankfully I had picked them up at the right moment. There was like a bunch of other video game stuff that I ended up selling off. Like earlier, there was like a few things for 50. There was like one other sale that was like around 140, I think. I can't remember like the exact crazy amount, but overall it's been picking up. Like for whatever reason, like in the first hour for a Sunday is pretty good. So we got new stuff out, new trades, a few new things that I didn't get a chance to put out yet. There was like a gentleman that came by and traded a few things off, and I had to like pull them out. They saw the trainers. That was what was 140. I had to like double check for that. But they traded off a heavy plate Arceus level X. Then it was 2 of the Pokemon Center ETB promos for Tornadus and Thundurus. I keep forgetting the exact names of them. And then probably maybe one of the better ones. No, the Pokemon Center ones are probably the best of the bunch. But this not as great condition copy for Machamp first edition. I was about to say PSA 1. That is pretty much the update right now. Is still very early in the show. I don't know what to expect, but hopefully we get some last second stuff and hopefully be able to come back with a few other things for the next show, which that's going to be the Columbus Card XXL show. I forget the full name, but you know which one. But yeah, as usual, I'll hit the record if anything else happens. Selling all together for $102. This was to a customer that picked all of these up, and hopefully it goes to a good home. And I believe the booth's name was Cash for Money, that they had all of these. The best one is obviously at the bottom of the pile. I came back to the booth earlier today to pick up Final Fantasy III. I almost picked up Tactics, but that one I had to pass on. Battle Tanks Global Assault, that one's always good filler for there. Luigi's Mansion's Complete. We kind of went back and forth on that since I know that this has gone down in price. This one I'm debating keeping for myself because I don't have it for my PC, so that I'm contemplating. I don't even remember if I actually do have that one or not. Then, of course, this was from yesterday, right before I had left. This was inside the one game that's going to be at the bottom of the case, but I'll go through that in a second. And then, of course, this was CIB, the Lenticular. These are a little bit harder to come by. And then this, I thought, was pretty much complete. It is missing the DVD bonus for Devil May Cry 2, so unfortunately I had to get this one down a little bit further. And then Sonic 3 has everything. The manual is not in the best shape, but I mean, we'll still get somebody a good deal on it. But the best one out of the bunch that we ended up snagging up was Nights into Dreams. This one is very nice, pristine, near mint. I haven't really seen a nicer copy than this other than the Wild. And like I said, the sampler sleeve was actually in that case, so that to me was like kind of an added bonus. So overall, that was probably a couple $100 worth of inventory, and I just forgot to document all that today. It's Pokemon on top of Pokemon, and one of the few that I got to drop by for the show that came from Collectagon, surprisingly. They wanted this one, a few other things, but they passed on, but they picked up the Leafeon V-Star, and then this that we just put out, and it's going away basically for like a $10 off, so it was a $130. So kind of a little bit of an update. I still have not had breakfast yet. I've still got all of my burritos, so unfortunately I am like very behind. So the vendor guy from yesterday, that gentleman back there, he came, his son actually sold us the ETB that was like for 60 is what we gave. He paid us like 65 to get it back, try to do like the story about how his kids like to open up stuff, but they have like so much sealed stuff. There's like a few things, I don't know where I'm like pointing, but it's like up there. So they came to the booth, they bought like a bunch of video game stuff from the booth itself, and overall I'm trying to remember the exact like discount offer that was like totaled off, but it was around $1,500. It's fine. It's not like a huge hit, but I think that they understood that I had to make a profit. But like I said, you just have to stay firm on what you have, and if you can't make that offer, then it is what it is. But yeah, that's basically mix it up for like the best weekend for a while. I don't know what to call it, but it's been a fun weekend. So probably one of the bigger card sales for the day, a decent amount of stuff, even one Gundam card for the whole entire weekend, and it's all going to a customer originally for $214, but we dropped it down to an even $200, so that's a pretty good variety there. It's a little bit slower now, much slower now, by the way. So the show has been good. I'm not gonna say it's, well, actually scratch that. I need to kind of just go over the numbers because I've got like the old notepad. So as far as Friday was probably the worst of the whole weekend, but I mean I still did good just for like one small like, what was it, like 4 hours or something like that. Then of course yesterday was pretty dang busy just for a Saturday, but I mean that's like any Saturday. But today took the cake. I don't know if I miscounted this up, but I'm pretty sure the number, it's right around maybe 2,400. I would say that's probably my best Sunday I've ever done. I didn't even think like this whole weekend, for that matter, was going to be anywhere close to Collecticon. But just from the numbers alone, I mean, I think it's like either better or it's like right at it. So, I mean, for just a show that doesn't really have that many vendors, like that to me is like one of my better weekends. So I know that I haven't picked up a lot of TCG stuff yet, well, hardly many except for like the last deck here. So in total, this ended up being around $410. It was more closer to like $500. I think that the price was very good for what it is. There's like, you know, Mario Duck Hunt is good filler. Then some basically some UMD stuff, like mostly in the movies, because I know that these will be popular around the anime convention from later this year, and it's like kind of like a bunch of stuff. Even Ninja Scroll for for PSP, those are like good fillers. So there was like a bit of mix of everything, and honestly, especially like right here, this is still good filler, and I'm debating keeping those and just selling that off. But I think this might actually be it for pickups. So yeah, no TCG stuff, sadly. I don't know if it's easy to spot how hot it is. I'm sweating, face a little red. That's not the only reason why it was hot today. The whole weekend show was hot. Like, I can't remember the last time I had this many good sales. For a smaller show, this was way smaller than Collecticon, and I still did just as good. Somebody explain the math on that? I have no idea why. So I do apologize for it being mostly video game related stuff for this show, but I did do some bit of cards for this, but there were more people interested in the video games, so you were able to see a lot more for this show. And man, I am sweating right now. But that is it all the way from here at the Sharonsville Convention Center for my second time with Super Cincy. This year, like, definitely kicked it out of the park. I was very surprised with like how many sales and how many trades went off, especially like the last few pickups that I did for today. And that's gonna all go directly towards more inventory, more stuff. I mean, look at how much I had to like fill for the back, but it still was a very good show. But thank y'all for joining me on this vlog. To all the new followers, to everybody who said hi, who bought stuff, traded, whatever it was. Thank you very much again. The next one is gonna be the bronze sponsorship spot for the Columbus XXL card show. That should be pretty fun. I am very excited about that one, and I get to be able to see everybody from Eastgate and the Dayton shows. It's gonna be a blast. Fun rest of the month overall. That is it. I'm gonna go ahead and hit the record button off to make my way back home. Thank you for watching, and until next time, you know how I do all of these exits or outros or whatever it is. Stay strong, stay positive, and most important of all, with a glare and 90-degree weather, love you all. Have a good one.